Do you like My Little Pony? I like My Little Pony. Do you like Minecraft? I like Minecraft. Why do I ask? Well, there's this swell fellow, Greg Hoffman, that does this swell MLP Abridged series, as well as this super swell fanfiction parody show. Thinking about it, I really ought to do a fanfiction episode. Anyway, in an effort to keep his website servers up, Mr. Hoffman is starting a Minecraft server, which he will charge a very humble fee annually to play upon. And he's also looking for individuals to send in a video about Minecraft for the opportunity to play on the server. Well, that sounds like a great old time to me, so color me interested. Add to that, it'll give me a chance to talk about a topic I love to talk about: the artistic value of video games. Perhaps more specifically, if video games are indeed art. Okay, see, to do any level of this, we have to figure out what our definition of art actually is, which is, and frankly, never will be completely settled. So I'm going to give you my opinion of what art is. Now, I have this buddy that does game design work over in Austin, and when I asked him if he thought that games would ever have their own Citizen Kane, he said that he thought that they already reached one, with Super Mario Bros. He said that the art of the game lied not in the story or design, but in the function. When an individual picks up an NES controller, Super Mario is almost instantly understood. From objective to obstacle, the way the game was made causes it to function very perfectly. It's easy to learn and hard to master. He compared it to a clock. It's not in the telling of time that a clock is artistic, but rather simply in the function of the device. All this being said, I personally do not think that video games have reached the level of high art. Art is tricky. Let me see if I can explain why, even a little. See, as far as I can tell, art needs three things to meet my criteria of high art. First of all, it must transmit a message or emotion. Anything can be aesthetically pleasing, and everyone finds different things aesthetically pleasing. It is only through the transmission of something deeper that a work can become anything more than subjective. Next, it has to have a sort of oneness of vision. Every part of the art in question should operate together to form a coherent, or completely incoherent, if that's the intention, work. Lastly, it is my opinion that art necessitates an observer. Art's entire purpose is to transmit something. Without someone to transmit it to, art is meaningless. Of course, this is where art can get tricky, as the method by which one observes is not always obvious. For instance, there's this guy that lives by a really tall mountain where, at the top, this guy placed a series of metal rods in a unique position, so that in a thunderstorm they would draw lightning in and cause it to arc in beautiful and awe-inspiring ways. However, due to a combination of the height of the mountain, the setup of the poles, and the danger of the lightning, this wonder is unobservable. Now, thus far, this example would not meet my criteria for art, correct? Well, let me ask you this. How would you feel if I told you that all of that was made up? How do you feel? Betrayed? Disappointed? One becomes attached to the work from concept alone. And that is how this particular work, which is in fact real by the way, is art. The conceptualization is how it is observed. See, so you can see how it gets a little tricky. Okay, now on to games. Now, I play a lot of games, guys, but I cannot frankly think of a single game that meets my criteria for art. A few come very, very painfully close. No More Heroes being the very closest that I can think of. I hear it a lot that people consider Minecraft art, comparing it to Legos. Well, the thing is that neither Minecraft or Legos are art, if you ask me. Just like most video games, both are toys. A toy is made for amusement. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love toys. People get paid outrageous amounts of money to play with toys. Toys are great. But a toy is not art. But what about the works made within Minecraft? Can we consider that art? Well, maybe, but I've not seen an example that I would call art. There are some amazing and dedicated Minecrafters out there, but it's just not art. I mean, there is some amazing pixel art out there, guys, but that really has nothing to do with being a game. Well, again, what about function? Like my friend said, can the art be found in the function of Minecraft? I'm positive some would say yes, but again, I would say no. I would say that there's an art to playing or creating in Minecraft, a skill set, but this is not high art. Geez, I'm really bumming myself out here. Okay, well, what can we do to make games high art? Well, being that I want to get onto Mr. Hoffman's server, this is how I think one could attempt to make high art, specifically in Minecraft. And certainly along the lines of what one could expect from me on a Minecraft server. Well, first you need your message, and generally this is the hardest part of art. A message tends to be something very near and dear to you. Off the top of my head, I think deception and forgiveness are worthy topics. Now onto the issue of oneness of vision, and this is the hardest part of making video games art. The feeling and intention of so many games is lost from the necessary openness of video games. Or, in other words, one deducts from the vision when player tomfoolery must be accounted for. Now, some games handle this with supreme grace. For instance, jacking around and spinning your flashlight in circles in the indie horror game Homesick will almost instantly get you killed. It's a touch of pure genius. So, within Minecraft, working with the existing mechanics, how can we make a player feel like they have been or are perpetrating some type of deception, while also remaining first and foremost a game? Well, let's say we drop or trick a player into changing their spawn to a sealed location, wherein they do not have the tools to escape. An obsidian room with no diamond pickaxe. You make a series of obstacles with very nearly possible but ultimately unattainable goals. The goal here would be to try and get them to simply punch through the obsidian, despite how long that would take, thereby cheating their way out. But when the wall or ceiling is penetrated, water would come gushing in. Swimming outside would reveal that the obsidian room was underwater, under a floor of obsidian, meaning that, in truth, there never was a way out. That ultimately the outcome would be the same. The player either exists forever in the room or drowns again and again and again. But wait, this obsidian box does indeed have a way out. What if we put a chest containing exactly the necessary ingredients to make a portal to the nether? So the choices would be either suffer, drown, or go to hell. Here, hoping the player feels sufficiently betrayed and deceived is where the point of forgiveness comes into play. See, with another player involved, separate from the one in the box, escape comes almost trivial. There's a million things a person outside of all this could do to help the person inside out. The point then would be that escape and symbolic forgiveness require an outside force. I think that might work anyway. Now, if that's a little too ambiguous, risky, or maybe just plain wouldn't work because players are in fact players, there might be a way to make art with just imagery and simple interaction. It would require a bit of experimentation, but perhaps a combination of levers and buttons and minecarts spanned across streams of lava pools and water, flowing and stopping and changing and interacting, could be created to mean something deeper, or at least to inspire. It would take time and effort, but I'd call that a worthwhile endeavor. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Can games be art? Have any games made art status already? Can systems and mechanical interactions within a game ever be called art? Is pop art high art? These are all great questions. Anyway, as much as I'd love to talk about other games, I'm looking at you, Max Payne 2, Shadow of the Colossus, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and NES's Commando. We'll have to save them for another day. Now, if you're interested in the philosophy of art, there's just a ton to think about there. Consider taking a peek at Plato's Republic, specifically the parts about aesthetics, Book 10, I believe. And that's simply a jumping off point. There's simply too much material out there for me to recommend. Just do some researching yourself in accordance with your own tastes. Now, my next episode is Panty and Stocking, long coming though it be. I have it all wrote out, guys. I just gotta stop being lazy. So until then, stay hungry, Philosotakus.